Hi, we're going to be talking about Machu Picchu. Where is Machu Picchu? Well, it isn't in Europe. We've been talking about Europe a lot lately, especially with the inventing of the printing press. But now we're going to go clear on the other side of the world into this continent, a whole different continent. As you can see, that continent is South America. I wonder what was going on in South America in the 1400s. And what's about this Machu Picchu? It's kind of a weird name. Well, when you think about it, in the 1400s, that they had a civilization going on in South America called the Inca civilization. And the other day I was watching on TV this archaeological show on PBS, and it was telling the story about these young boys that went and found in the jungle, they were digging in the dirt and everything, they found this ancient civilization. Well, I told everybody, and everybody thought it was some big tall tale. Well, in 1911, this was the year, there were some archaeologists that were people that were doing a dig there, archaeologists, and they were looking for ancient civilizations. And these boys told them of these stories, and so they decided to follow them, and they led them into this area that was on top of this mountain peak. And they did find this great ancient civilization, this great city there, city of gold. So when they found all this in 1911, they started digging, and then they started guessing about who lived there and what was going on. Well, this mountain complex was 7,875 feet above sea level. It's kind of like Lake Tahoe is, And they named it Machu Picchu, meaning Old Peak, and it was 2,000 feet above the Rubamba Valley. That's a tongue twister. And you'll see that on page 599 in the Andes Mountains on the west coast of South America. And it was of the Quechua people that were of the Incas. They were descended from the Incas. And they found these structures, and the structures were very, very complex structures. You could see the photos. The whole area was over, 5 square miles for the main area, and in the castle area there was 3,000 stones or steps that led up to this taller structure. There were 200 structures all around that whole area, and they were kind of made of this white granite kind of looking and they would have these, probably have thick thatch roofs, but they had deteriorated. And also they were made of these cut stones, and as they looked through, they didn't have mortar to hold the stones together like we do. So they kind of put them so close together, but they were so close together that you couldn't even stick a knife in there. They were so exact, holding those stones together. And they thought, how in the world did they keep those stones together? But anyway, they had terraces. There was some 700 terraces in that area. They dug canals, 2,500 foot long canal. That's a pretty long canal. And they also had the drainage systems that would come down to take water away, like they had plumbing. My goodness. And that it was very, very wet there. And right now it was a jungle. In fact, that area gets 75 inches of rain per year, higher than any other place in the United States. Well, the purpose, what in the world? What was the purpose of the city there? Well, because they had no records, and they had no legends to explain or anything. They only could guess, and they had guesses. So they figured that it was probably for one of the royal families, or because it looked like a palace, or it might have been a religious observatory where they observed the stars, or it might have been a military stronghold, or it could have been all three of those things put together. Who knows? But as they looked at these areas, it was a very, very beautiful, and they realized that it had lots of places where there were gold there. And as they dug down, and I was watching this show the other day, they dug down and they thought this must have been the tomb of the great king and his family. And so they were finding these bones and different things there. But they still didn't know everything that had happened there. But they did know that this place had been abandoned a long time ago, like in 1532. And they figured, I don't know how they figured, but they figured that they probably had begun work in 1438 after Pachacutic's defeat. What an amazing thing. What an amazing find to find there. But yet alone, they were only there for about 100 years. And then they left. Why did they leave? Who knows? They thought maybe there was an earthquake, but they didn't see that damage. So till now, they really don't know why they left. But it was a great kingdom there, part of the Inca kingdom in Machu Picchu. Well, when you think of the Inca family before, because that was just part of the Incas back then, and the Incas actually, the noble family lived in the area of, which is now Cusco, Peru, in the years of 1200. And there was an emperor, Pachacuti was his name, and he conquered the surrounding area in 1438. And he called the land, it was the land of the four quarters, the largest area of people on earth at that time. 10 million people lived in that area. The Inca Empire spread over 2,500 miles from Colombia all the way down to Chile, from the deserts all the way to the Amazon rainforests. They built fortresses, 14,000 miles of roads, 14,000 miles of roads with 2 main highways. That's a lot of roads and a lot of highways, although they didn't have cars then, you know that. And the irrigation canals were wonderful. They had built terraces on the sides of the mountains. Cusco was its capital, and it was indescribable wealth. The roads and temple areas, a lot of those areas were made of gold. Sculptured gardens, llamas, mazes, shepherds. They built these little things, these little models of gold. They had a lot of gold then. And that's why probably back when we find the explorers that came to South America, they most definitely were looking for the 7 cities of gold of the Inca Empire, because they knew they had gold. But then, all things disappear. All things die. Great empires fall, and we know the Inca Empire fell. And we know that happened when the conquistadors came, and they had guns and weaponry above and beyond the Incas. So anyway, when I look at it, it seems pretty sad. But where all these nations and empires are trying to build their way, take everything to heaven with them. We know we can't do that. Mankind. We need God, don't we? But as you look at these pictures, pretty spectacular. Look at that. Machu Picchu. Amazing place. Someday, I'd like to go down there to Peru and Chile and travel and see some of those areas, those ruins that were left. 1400, that's a long time ago. Don't you think?